The human child cleared the barracks wall in a single bound. Captain Thelrix watched her arc through the air, limbs extended, hair streaming behind her like a war banner. The child's shadow fell across the ceremonial gardens where Queen Velterra stood surrounded by her honor guard. Thelrix's hand moved to her weapon before conscious thought caught up with training. The Queen's guards shifted formation. Weapons hummed to life. The child landed hard, rolled, came up laughing. Thelrix's fingers tightened on her sidearm. Protocol demanded she fire. A breach of the inner sanctum. An unidentified human moving at combat speed toward the Queen. Every instinct screamed threat. But something stopped her. The child couldn't be more than 8 solar cycles old. She wore civilian clothes, dirt-streaked and torn at one knee. No weapons. No armor. No backup. Again! The child shouted to someone beyond the wall. Watch this one! She took 3 running steps and launched herself at the fountain. Her small hands caught the stone rim. She swung her legs up and over, landed in the water with a tremendous splash, and emerged grinning. The Queen hadn't moved. Velterra stood perfectly still, her 4 eyes fixed on the child. Her crest feathers lay flat against her skull in a pattern Thelrix had learned to read during 20 years of service. Not anger. Not fear. Fascination. Your Majesty. Thelrix kept her voice level. Shall I remove the intruder? No. The word carried absolute authority. Velterra's guards held position, weapons still active, but no one advanced. The child climbed out of the fountain. Water streamed from her clothes. She looked around the garden properly for the first time and froze. 12 armed guards. 1 queen. All staring at her. Oh. The child's face shifted through several expressions. Oh no. Identify yourself. Velterra's voice resonated through the garden. She spoke in standard, though her accent made the human words sharp as broken glass. Emma. The child's voice came out small. Emma Chin. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just playing with my brother and the wall was there and I thought I could. She stopped. Swallowed. Am I in trouble? You breached the inner sanctum. Velterra moved forward 1 step. Her guards mirrored the movement. You violated sacred ground. You approached the Queen without clearance. Emma's eyes went very wide. Thelrix had seen this before. Humans were new to the interstellar coalition. Most species spent decades learning proper diplomatic protocols before their leaders met with the ancient races. Humans had been granted accelerated integration. A political decision made above Thelrix's authority level. She'd had her doubts then. Watching this child drip fountain water onto consecrated stones confirmed them. I'm really sorry. Emma's voice shook. I didn't know this was your garden. My dad works in the engineering bay. We live in the residential sector. I've never been to this part of the station before. The barracks wall is 4 meters high. Velterra took another step closer. You cleared it without assistance. I'm good at jumping. Impossible. One of the guards spoke for the first time. Human children possess insufficient muscle density for vertical propulsion of that magnitude. Emma's chin lifted. I can show you. Thelrix recognized the shift in the child's stance. Fear giving way to pride. Humans were strange that way. Their emotional states changed like weather patterns, fast and unpredictable. Show me. Velterra gestured toward the wall. Thelrix tensed. This was irregular. The Queen never engaged with unauthorized visitors. Never showed interest in physical demonstrations. Never broke protocol. Emma walked to the wall. She stood before it, measuring with her eyes. Then she backed up 20 paces, took a breath, and ran. Her feet hit the ground in rapid rhythm. 3 steps from the wall she gathered herself, and leaped. Her hands caught the top edge. She pulled herself up with smooth efficiency and stood balanced on the narrow surface, arms spread for stability. See? She called down. I told you. Velterra's crest feathers lifted. Thelrix had served long enough to know what that meant. The Queen was impressed. Come down. Valterra's tone had shifted. Less imperial command, more genuine request. Emma jumped. She dropped the 4 meters without hesitation, landed in a crouch that absorbed the impact, and straightened with no apparent difficulty. 2 of the guards exchanged glances. Your species is classified as fragile. Valterra circled the child slowly. Your bone structure is rated insufficient for high-impact activity. Your military files indicate extensive injury rates during training. I guess. Emma shrugged. My mom says I'm made of rubber. I've never broken anything. How old are you? 8 3/4. Valterra stopped circling. She looked at Thelrix directly for the first time since the child appeared. Thelrix understood the unspoken command. She activated her scanner and ran a full biological analysis. The results appeared on her display within seconds. Human female. Age consistent with statement. No artificial enhancements. No genetic modifications. No performance-augmenting substances. Just a child who could clear a 4-meter wall like it was nothing. Captain Thelrix. Valterra spoke without looking away from Emma. Find this child's parents. Bring them here. Do not sound alarm. This is not a security incident. Your Majesty, go. Thelrix went. She moved through the station corridors at combat pace, her mind working through possibilities. Human children weren't supposed to possess these capabilities. The integration assessments had been clear. Humans were intelligent but physically unremarkable. Their military forces compensated for biological limitations with technology and tactics. A child who could jump 4 meters changed those calculations. The engineering base sprawled across 3 levels. Thelrix found Chenwei working on a plasma conduit, his hands buried in delicate machinery. He looked up when she approached, saw her uniform, and went pale. Is Emma? She's with the Queen. Unharmed. You need to come with me now. The residential sector held hundreds of family units. Thelrix pulled personnel records as they walked. Chinyuki, civilian doctor, assigned to the station medical facility. She worked the 3rd shift. Thelrix sent a priority message. Report to the ceremonial gardens immediately. Code Yellow. Code Yellow meant urgent but not emergency. It meant come quickly but don't panic. Thelrix hoped she'd chosen correctly. They returned to the garden. Emma sat on the fountain's edge, still dripping, talking to the Queen. Valterra listened with her crest feathers fully raised, which meant maximum attention. Chenwei stopped walking when he saw his daughter. Emma. His voice came out strangled. What did you do? I jumped over the wall. Emma smiled like this was good news. The Queen wants to know how. How? Valterra's gaze shifted to Chenwei. Can you explain your daughter's capabilities? Chenwei looked between his daughter and the Queen. She's always been like this. Since she could walk. We had her tested. The doctor said she's just naturally athletic. Naturally athletic. Valterra repeated the words slowly. Your species reports frequent injuries from falls exceeding 2 meters. Your daughter dropped 4 meters and sustained no damage. Emma's different. How many human children are different in this way? I don't know. Yuki-chan arrived running. She burst into the garden, saw her daughter with the Queen, and stopped so abruptly she nearly fell. Thelrix caught her elbow. Mrs. Chen. The Queen has questions about your daughter's physical abilities. Yuki's eyes went to Emma. Then to the Queen. Is she hurt? No. Valterra's tone gentled slightly. But I need to understand. Your integration assessments classified human children as requiring special protection. Low durability. High injury risk. This child defies those classifications. Yuki moved to Emma's side. Her hands ran over her daughter's arms and legs, checking for damage with practiced efficiency. Emma's always been tough. She falls. She gets up. She's never needed serious medical attention. Never? Never. And other human children? Some are like her. Most aren't. Yuki's voice steadied. We're variable. Some of us are fragile. Some of us are resilient. The assessments probably looked at averages. Velterra turned to Thelrix. Captain? How many humans live on this station? 2,347. How many are children? 412. Find out how many can do what Emma Chin can do. Velterra's crest feathers quivered. I need exact numbers. Physical capability assessments for every human child. Age ranges. Performance metrics. Everything. Your Majesty. Thelrix hesitated. May I ask why? Velterra looked at Emma. The child met her gaze without fear. Because, the Queen said slowly, I thought I was being attacked. I thought a human child leaping over my barracks wall was a prelude to war. If I misunderstood one child's play as aggression, what else have we misunderstood about humans? The garden fell silent. Emma kicked her feet against the fountain. I really am sorry about your garden. Don't apologize. Velterra's voice carried something Thelrix had never heard before. You've taught me something crucial. Human children are not what we were told. If the children are this capable, what can the adults do? Emma thought about this. My mom ran a marathon last year. 26 miles. She said it hurt, but she finished. 26 miles. Thelrix pulled up the conversion. 42 kilometers. She'd seen species collapse after 5. Mrs. Chen. Velterra's crest feathers were fully extended now. I need you to gather data. Every human on this station. Physical capabilities. Endurance. Strength. Recovery rates. Not averaged. Individual measurements. Why? Yuki's arms tightened around Emma. Because the coalition made decisions about your species based on incomplete information. We classified you as fragile. We assigned you civilian roles. We didn't consider you for military integration. Velterra moved closer. We were wrong. Shinwei found his voice. You thought Emma was attacking you? Yes. Because she jumped over a wall. A wall designed to stop infiltration. A wall that has stood for 3 centuries without being breached. Velterra's 4 eyes fixed on him. Your 8-year-old daughter cleared it while playing. Emma looked proud. Her parents looked terrified. Thelrix understood both reactions. Your Majesty. She kept her voice steady. What are your orders? Velterra turned to face her captain fully. Compile the data I requested. Discreet inquiries only. No formal testing protocols. I don't want to alarm the human population. And once we have the data? Then, we present it to the Coalition Council. We revise the human integration assessments. We correct our assumptions. Velterra paused. And we apologize for underestimating them. Emma squirmed out of her mother's arms. Can I still play near the barracks? No. Velterra's tone allowed no argument. But you can come to the garden. Official invitation. You and any other children who can clear the wall. Really? Really. I want to understand. I want to see what humans can do when they're just being themselves. The Queen's crest feather settled into a pattern Thelrix recognized as determination. The Coalition needs to understand. Emma grinned. Can I show you how high I can climb? Velterra looked at the garden walls. At the decorative towers. At the ancient trees with their spreading branches. Yes, she said. Show me everything. Thelrix watched the human child scramble up a tree that had stood for 400 years. Watched her navigate branches that should have been too high, too fragile, too dangerous. Watched the queen of the oldest species in the coalition learn that humanity was full of surprises. The station's alarm system stayed silent. No security breach. No diplomatic incident. Just a child playing in a garden, rewriting everything the galaxy thought it knew about humans. Emma reached the top of the tree and waved. Her parents watched with expressions of mingled pride and worry. The Queen's guard stood down but remained alert. Velterra tilted her head back, studying the child against the artificial sky. Captain Thelrix, she said quietly. Begin the assessments tomorrow. Start with volunteers. Keep it casual. Yes, Your Majesty. And Thelrix? Your Majesty? Thank you for not shooting her. Thelrix had served 20 years. She'd followed protocol perfectly thousands of times. This was the first time breaking protocol felt like the right choice. She's just a child, Thelrix said. Yes. Valterra watched Emma begin her descent. But she's a human child. That means something different than we thought. Emma dropped the last 3 meters. Landed. Smiled. The galaxy had just changed. Nobody realized it yet except a queen and her captain, standing in a garden where a child had leaped over walls and opened doors no one knew were closed. Thelrix activated her communication array. Started pulling files. Started planning assessments. Started wondering what else humanity had been hiding, not through deception, but through simple underestimation. Emma found another wall to climb. Valterra watched. The Coalition's understanding of humanity rewrote itself with every jump, every climb, every fearless leap. And in the engineering bay, the residential sectors, the medical facilities, thousands of humans went about their lives, unaware that one child's game had just changed their species' future. The data collection began the next morning. Thelrix structured it as voluntary physical recreation assessments. Interested in optimal exercise routines for mixed species stations. Nothing threatening. Nothing official. Humans signed up in droves. They loved competitions. Loved showing what they could do. Loved proving themselves. The first results came back within a week. Thelrix brought the compiled data to Valterra's private chambers. The Queen read in silence for a long time. These numbers can't be correct. Valterra's voice held no conviction. She knew they were correct. She just didn't want to believe them. I verified personally. Multiple independent measurements. Cross-referenced with medical records. Valterra scrolled through the data. 42% of human children demonstrate above-average physical capabilities by Coalition standards. 15% demonstrate exceptional capabilities. 3% demonstrate what we would classify as enhanced performance if they were any other species. Emma Chin falls into the 3%. And the adults? Thelrix pulled up the second file. 38% above average. 20% exceptional. 7% enhanced level performance. They'd been living here for 2 years. Working civilian jobs. We assigned them low-impact roles because we thought they were fragile. We were operating on incomplete data. Valterra set down the tablet. We were operating on assumptions. The human delegation presented average capabilities during integration assessment. We classified the entire species based on those averages. Standard protocol. Flawed protocol. Valterra's crest feathers flattened. We never asked about variance. We never tested the full spectrum. We saw their baseline and assumed that represented their species. Thelrix had been thinking about this for days. Most species cluster around their baseline. Individual variation rarely exceeds 10%. Humans aren't most species. No, Your Majesty. They're not. Valterra stood and walked to her window. The station sprawled below, a massive structure housing 57 different species. The human residential sector occupied one corner, tucked away near the civilian facilities. Safe. Protected. Underutilized. We need to brief the council. Valterra didn't turn from the window. They need to see this data. They'll have questions. They'll have concerns. Humans are new to the Coalition. New species are watched carefully. If we suddenly announce that humans are significantly more capable than we believed, some will see it as deception. Yes. The humans didn't deceive us. We failed to ask the right questions. Valterra turned. Can you prove that? Thelrix pulled up the integration assessment protocols. The standard physical evaluation tests strength, endurance, and recovery at baseline level. It doesn't test variance. It doesn't test exceptional individuals. It doesn't test children at all. Why not? Because most species protect their children, Keep them away from physical stress. Human children play like they're training for combat. Imogen was playing. Valterra's voice held wonder. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. Wasn't competing. She was just having fun. And she cleared a 4-meter wall. What can they do when they are trying? Thelrix didn't answer. She didn't know. Nobody knew. The council meeting convened 3 days later. Valterra presented the data personally. 12 species leaders attended, their forms ranging from gaseous to crystalline to conventionally bipedal. They listened in silence as Valterra outlined the findings. Then, the questions began. You're suggesting humans deliberately misrepresented their capabilities? The Kreth delegate's translator rendered his chemical signals into standard. No. I'm suggesting our assessment protocols failed to capture their full range. A convenient excuse. An accurate observation. Valterra didn't raise her voice. I've reviewed the integration assessments. They tested 10 adult humans. All volunteers. All average performers. We extrapolated species-wide capabilities from a sample size of 10. Standard protocol. Flawed protocol. For humans. The VRYNN representative shifted her massive form. What are you proposing? Reassessment. Full-spectrum physical and cognitive testing. Age-stratified samples. Performance variance mapping. That will take months. Yes. And in the meantime? We acknowledge our error. We expand opportunities for human personnel. We stop treating them as fragile when clearly many of them are not. The Tercel delegate spoke for the first time. His species had been part of the coalition for 8,000 years. His opinion carried weight. I've read your data, Valterra. If accurate, it suggests humans possess greater physical capability than 60% of coalition species. 63%. And those are the averages. Exceptional humans outperform 81% of coalition species in comparable physical tasks. Silence fell across the chamber. You're certain of these numbers? The Tercel delegate's translator carried overtones of concern. I verified them personally. Multiple independent assessments. Medical records. Performance data. The numbers are accurate. Then, we have made a serious miscalculation. Valterra waited. Humans have been requesting military integration for 18 months. We denied those requests based on physical capability concerns. I'm aware. We need to revisit those decisions. The Kreth delegate hissed. His translator struggled with the complex chemical burst. You want to militarize a species we barely understand? I want to stop underestimating them. There's a difference. They've been here 2 years. 2 years! Most species undergo decades of evaluation before military consideration. Most species don't have children who can breach royal security while playing. That stopped the arguments. Valterra pressed her advantage. Imogen is 8 years old. She cleared a 4-meter wall, dropped the same distance, and walked away without injury. That's not average. That's not normal. That's exceptional. And she represents 3% of human children. 3% of children. What about adults? 7% of adults demonstrate similar capabilities. That's approximately 164 humans on this station alone. Multiply that across their home system population, 4 billion. The Tercel delegate's voice was grim. 7% of 4 billion. 280 million humans with enhanced-level physical capabilities. The number hung in the air like a weapon. They didn't tell us. The Kreth delegate's chemicals carried accusation. We didn't ask? Valterra met his sensor array directly. We assumed. We tested their baseline. We never looked deeper. Why not? Because no other species shows this level of variance. We weren't looking for it. The VRYNN representative rumbled. What else aren't we seeing? I don't know. That's why we need comprehensive reassessment. The Tercel delegate shifted forward. I move to approve expanded evaluation protocols for human personnel. Full spectrum. All age categories. Complete capability mapping. Seconded. Velterra spoke immediately. The vote passed 11-1. Only the Kreth delegate opposed. Velterra returned to the station with authorization and funding. Thelrix had been preparing for this. Within a day, they had volunteers. Within a week, they had results that changed everything again. The combat simulation started simply. Standard training scenarios. Individual performance assessments. Humans had been asking for military opportunities. Now they had a chance to prove themselves. Thelrix observed from the control room. Velterra stood beside her, watching the feeds. The first volunteer was Marcus Webb, age 29, civilian engineer. Baseline human by all previous assessments. Average strength, average endurance, average everything. He entered the simulation chamber. The scenario began. Low difficulty urban combat environment. Standard protocol for initial assessment. Marcus moved like water. He cleared obstacles without slowing. Identified threats faster than the simulation could deploy them. Completed the course in 4 minutes and 37 seconds. The previous record, held by a Kreth warrior with 80 years of training, was 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Run it again. Velterra's voice was tight. Increased difficulty 30%. They ran it again. Marcus completed it in 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Again. Maximum difficulty. Maximum difficulty was designed to be impossible. A stress test to identify failure points. Marcus completed it in 6 minutes and 19 seconds with 2 minor errors. Thelrix checked the medical readouts. His heart rate barely elevated. Respiration normal. No stress markers. He's not even trying hard. No, Your Majesty. He's not. They ran 17 more volunteers that day. 15 completed maximum difficulty scenarios on their first attempt. The 2 who failed completed them on their second run. None of them had military training. Velterra sent the data to the council that night with a single-line message: "We need to talk." The emergency session convened the next morning. These results are impossible. The Kreth delegate didn't bother with preamble. They're documented. Verified. Repeatable. Velterra transmitted the raw data. Humans are outperforming our best warriors in standard combat scenarios. Without training. Without military training. They've been training their entire lives. They call it play. Exercise. Recreation. They push themselves constantly without realizing they're preparing for combat. The VRYNN representatives studied the data. Their evolutionary environment must have been extraordinarily hostile. Earth is classified as a paradise world. Abundant resources. Moderate climate. No apex predators capable of threatening human populations. Then how, I don't know. I've requested anthropological data from their home system. We should have answers within a week. The Tercel delegate spoke quietly. We need to reconsider the human integration timeline. Agreed. Full military integration. Immediately. That's premature. The Kreth delegate's chemicals sharpened. We don't understand them yet. We understand they're capable. We understand they're being wasted in civilian roles. We understand. The Tercel delegate paused. We understand that if they wanted to be a threat, they already would be. That stopped the argument. 2,347 humans on this station. Many with enhanced capabilities. They'd been living here for 2 years in positions of minimal authority. If they were hostile, we would know. Unless they're waiting. For what? They asked for military integration 18 months ago. We said no. They accepted that decision and continued serving in civilian roles. That doesn't suggest hostile intent. Velterra watched the council process this. She'd been thinking about it for days. The implications were staggering. They're not hostile. They're just capable. And we've been treating them like children who need protection. Emma Chin is a child. The Kreth delegate's tone shifted. She breached royal security. What happens when human adults decide to breach something more important? then we're already too late to stop them. Which is why integration is better than isolation. The vote was closer this time. 8-4 in favor of military integration. The announcement went out that afternoon. Thelrix delivered it personally to the human residential sector. She expected celebration. Maybe some vindication. Humans had been asking for this for so long. Instead, she found caution. Why now? Chenwei asked the question on everyone's mind. They'd gathered in the common area, 200 humans listening as Thelrix explained the policy change. Because we understand your capabilities better now. You understand we can clear walls and run combat simulations. That was Marcus Webb. That doesn't explain sudden military integration. Thelrix respected the skepticism. You're right. I'll be direct. We miscalculated during integration assessment. We classified your species as fragile based on incomplete data. Emma Chen demonstrated that our classification was wrong. Subsequent testing confirmed it. You've been serving in roles below your capability level because we made assumptions instead of asking questions. And now you want us in military roles. We're offering the opportunity. No one is being conscripted. What changed? Yuki Chen stood with her family. Emma sat on her father's shoulders, watching everything. You've had our medical data for 2 years. You've had performance records. Why does my daughter jumping over a wall suddenly matter? Thelrix met her eyes. Because the Queen thought Emma was attacking her. Because a child at play triggered threat protocols. Because we realized if we can't tell the difference between human recreation and human combat preparation, we don't understand humans at all. The crowd went quiet. Emma scared the Queen? Wei's voice held disbelief. Emma impressed the Queen. There's a difference. But yes, the initial response was defensive. A child cleared a barrier designed to stop military infiltration. That changes threat assessments across the board. You're afraid of us. Marcus said it flatly. No. We're reevaluating you. There's a difference. Sounds the same to me. Then, let me be clearer. Humans have been part of the coalition for 2 years. In that time, you've excelled at every civilian assignment. You've integrated peacefully with 56 other species. You've caused 0 diplomatic incidents. You've been model citizens. But you're also significantly more capable than we believed. And the coalition needs to decide how to respond to that information. Integration is better than isolation. Partnership is better than suspicion. So we're offering what you've been requesting. Military opportunities. Advanced training. Command track positions. Just like that. Just like that. Emma spoke up. Can I still play in the Queen's garden? Thelrix smiled. The Queen specifically requested your presence. Weekly visits. She wants to understand human childhood development. I'm a research subject? You're an honored guest. Emma considered this. Can I bring my brother? If he can clear the wall. He can. He's better at climbing than me. Thelrix filed that information away. Another exceptional human child. The numbers kept climbing. We need time to discuss this. Chenwei spoke for the group. This is a major decision. Take the time you need. The offer stands. Thelrix left them to their deliberations. She reported back to Velterra that evening. They're cautious. Smart. They should be. We're asking them to trust us after admitting we misunderstood them for 2 years. Will they accept? Some will. The ones who wanted military service all along. But others will question the timing. Wonder what we're really after. Velterra's crest feathers settled into a thoughtful pattern. We're after partnership with a species we underestimated. That's the truth. Not everyone will believe it. Then we prove it. We give them opportunities. We evaluate fairly. We let their performance speak for itself. The anthropological data arrived from Earth the next day. Thelrix read it 3 times before bringing it to the Queen. Velterra absorbed the information in silence. Then she laughed. A harsh, rasping sound that her species reserved for moments of profound irony. They're persistence hunters. Yes, Your Majesty. They evolved chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They can regulate their body temperature while running. They can maintain pursuit for hours. Or days. The data includes accounts of hunts lasting 48 hours. 48 hours of continuous pursuit. Their ancestors ran prey to death. Literally. No other predator could match their endurance. Valterra set down the tablet. We classified them as fragile. We didn't know. We should have known. We should have asked what shaped them. What made them survivors. The data also explains the variance. Humans adapted to dozens of different environments on their home world. Desert. Arctic. Mountain. Jungle. Each environment selected for different traits. High-altitude populations developed enhanced lung capacity. Arctic populations developed cold resistance. Desert populations developed heat tolerance. They're not one species. They're one species with hundreds of localized adaptations. Emma Chen's family background? Thelrix pulled the file. Grandfather from Himalayan region. High-altitude adaptation. Grandmother from East Asian coastal region. Heat and humidity tolerance. Mother from Arctic region. Cold adaptation. Father from temperate region. Baseline everything. Emma inherited all of it. Hybrid vigor. The data suggests humans with mixed ancestry often demonstrate enhanced capabilities because they inherit multiple adaptation packages. How many humans have mixed ancestry? On Earth? Approximately 80% of current population. Valterra's crest feathers rose fully. 80%. They've been mixing populations for thousands of years. The data calls it globalization. It means most modern humans carry adaptation packages from multiple environments. No wonder they're so variable. They're not variants from a baseline. They're combinations of dozens of baselines. Thelrix had reached the same conclusion. We can't classify them the way we classify other species. There is no human baseline. There are human ranges. And we tested 10 people from the middle of those ranges. Yes, Your Majesty. Valterra stood and walked to her window again. The human residential sector glowed with evening lighting. Thousands of humans going about their lives. Cooking. Talking. Playing. Surviving on a space station billions of kilometers from their home world without complaint. They're remarkable. Valterra's voice was quiet. And we almost missed it. We're correcting that now. Are we? Or are we just scrambling to catch up? Thelrix didn't answer. She didn't need to. They both knew the truth. The first human military candidates reported for training the following week. 53 volunteers. Mixed ages, mixed backgrounds, mixed capabilities. All of them exceeded expectations. Thelrix supervised the training personally. She'd served in the coalition military for 20 years. She knew what made good soldiers. Humans made good soldiers naturally. They understood teamwork without being taught. They adapted to new situations instantly. They pushed through pain that would stop other species. They learned from failure instead of being discouraged by it. And they never, ever gave up. It's the persistence hunting. Valterra watched the training feeds from her office. They're bred for endurance. For refusing to quit. For pursuing goals until they succeed. They're also creative. Look at this. Thelrix highlighted a training scenario. Standard hostage rescue. We've run this scenario for 30 years. There are 3 optimal solutions. This human found a 4th one. Effective? She completed the scenario in half the standard time with 0 casualties. How? She talked the hostage taker into surrendering. Spent 2 minutes building rapport and convincing him his position was hopeless. He laid down weapons voluntarily. That's not a combat solution. No. It's a human solution. They tried diplomacy first. Valterra watched the replay. The human soldier's voice stayed calm, reasonable, friendly. Even facing a hostile target, she treated him like someone worth talking to. They're going to change everything. Valterra's voice held certainty. Your Majesty? Humans. They're going to change how the coalition operates, how we solve problems, how we define strength. Because they talk instead of fight? Because they do both. And they do both well. Valterra switched to another feed. This one completed the maximum difficulty combat scenario. Then, he asked if he could try it again without weapons. Did he succeed? Yes. Used environmental elements as improvised weapons. Completed it faster than the armed run. Resourceful. Terrifying. If they wanted to be threats, we couldn't stop them. But they don't want to be threats. No. They want to be partners. They want to contribute. They want to prove themselves. Is that so different from other species? Valterra turned to face her captain. Yes. Because other species accept their place in the coalition hierarchy. Humans keep pushing for more. Not out of ambition. Out of capability. They know they can do more than we're letting them do. And now we're letting them. Now we don't have a choice. Emma Chin visited the garden every week as promised. She brought her brother the second visit. He cleared the wall on his first attempt, and climbed higher into the trees than Emma ever had. Valterra watched them play with the same fascination she'd felt that first day. Your Majesty. Thelrix joined her in the garden. The Council wants your assessment. Of what? Human military integration. First month results. Valterra didn't need to check the data. She'd been following it obsessively. They exceed standards in every category. Physical performance, tactical thinking, teamwork, adaptability. 53 candidates. 0 failures. 47 are recommended for advanced training. The other 6 are recommended for immediate officer candidate school. The Council will want specifics. Tell them this. We spent 2 years treating humans like fragile newcomers who needed protection. We were wrong. Humans don't need protection. They need opportunities. Give them opportunities and they'll exceed every expectation we have. That's not a technical assessment. The technical assessments are in the reports. You want my personal opinion? Humans are the most capable species we've integrated in my lifetime. And we almost missed it because we asked the wrong questions and accepted average answers. Thelrix absorbed this. I'll relay your assessment. Relay one more thing. Your Majesty? Thank Emma Chin for jumping over my wall. She changed everything. Emma chose that moment to leap from a branch 3 meters up. She landed, rolled, and came up grinning. Her brother jumped from twice that height a moment later. Both landed perfectly. Valterra's crest feathers rose in what her species would recognize as delighted horror. They're just children. She said it wonderingly. Human children. Thelrix corrected. There's a difference. Yes. And we're only beginning to understand what that difference means. The second council meeting focused on long-term integration strategy. The data was clear. Humans outperformed expectations. The question was what to do about it. Full military integration across all coalition forces. The Tercel delegate proposed immediately. Humans have proven themselves. We need to utilize their capabilities. Agreed. Valterra spoke without hesitation. But we need to go further. How much further? Command positions. Strategic planning. Elite forces. Humans aren't just good soldiers. They're innovative thinkers. We're wasting their potential in standard military roles. The Kreth delegate finally shifted position. I've reviewed the data. I've watched the training feeds. I've resisted this integration from the beginning, but I can't deny the evidence anymore. Humans are exceptional. The chamber went silent at this admission. I move to approve expanded human integration. Military command track. Strategic planning roles. Fast-tracked promotion protocols for exceptional performers. Seconded. Valterra almost smiled. The vote was unanimous. The announcement went through official channels the next day. Humans eligible for all military positions. No restrictions. No quotas. Pure merit-based advancement. The human response was enthusiastic. Applications flooded in. Thousands of humans across coalition space requesting transfer to military service. Engineers who wanted to design better ships. Doctors who wanted to serve in combat medicine. Teachers who wanted to train the next generation of coalition warriors. The coalition had opened a door. Humans were charging through it. 3 months after Emma Chin jumped over the barracks wall, the first human officer graduated from command school. Commander Sarah Torres, age 34, former civilian logistics coordinator. She'd completed a program designed to take 2 years and 8 months. She'd scored highest in her class on strategic thinking and tactical innovation. She reported for duty on a frontier patrol vessel commanded by a VRYNN captain who'd been skeptical of human integration. 2 weeks into her deployment, the vessel encountered a pirate raid. Standard protocol called for defensive positioning and requesting reinforcement. Torres suggested an alternative approach. The VRYNN captain listened. Considered. Approved. Torres coordinated a response that turned the raiders' ambush into a trap. No shots fired. No casualties. The raiders surrendered when they realized they were surrounded. The engagement report landed on Valterra's desk 3 days later. She read it twice. Then, she forwarded it to the council with a single word, "Told you." Emma Chin turned 9. She still visited the garden every week. She'd stopped jumping over the wall. Now she climbed it. Straight up the smooth surface using fingerholds Valterra couldn't even see. Her brother was 10. He'd started teaching other human children his climbing techniques. The garden hosted 20 children every week now. All of them exceptional. All of them pushing boundaries just by playing. Valterra watched them and wondered what the coalition would look like in 20 years when these children were adults. She suspected it would be very different. Velric stood beside her as always. The council approved the human proposal. Which one? Exploration service. Humans requested permission to crew long-range survey missions. The council approved with full support. Persistence hunters exploring the galaxy. Valterra's crest feathers rose in amusement. That seems appropriate. They also proposed a joint training program. Human endurance specialists training other species in long-duration operations. What did the council say? Approved. Enthusiastically. Apparently, several species want to learn human training methods. Valterra watched Emma Chin scale a wall that should have been impossible to climb. Of course they do. Everyone wants to know how humans do what they do. Do we know? We know some of it. Persistence hunting. Hybrid vigor. Environmental adaptation. But there's something else. Something in how they approach challenges. Your Majesty? They don't see obstacles the way we do. We see a wall, we think barrier. Humans see a wall, they think opportunity. Chance to test themselves. Challenge to overcome. Emma's brother just suggested they try climbing without using their hands. Of course he did. Valterra's voice held affection now instead of alarm. That's what humans do. They find the impossible and make it possible. Should we stop them? No. We should learn from them. The year anniversary of Emma's initial jump arrived quietly. Valterra marked it privately, reviewing the changes that one child's play had initiated. 2,347 humans on the station. 47% now served in military or strategic roles. Satisfaction ratings were up. Performance metrics exceeded all projections. Integration was successful by every measure. But the real change was harder to quantify. Humans had shifted the coalition's understanding of capability, of potential, of what it meant to be strong. Other species were asking questions they'd never asked before. Could they improve their own performance? Could they train differently? Could they push harder? Humans weren't just joining the coalition. They were changing it from within. Valterra found Emma in the garden on the anniversary day. The child was teaching a young VRYNN how to climb. The VRYNN's tentacles weren't designed for climbing, but Emma was patient, creative, encouraging. Like this. Use your whole body. Don't just pull with your arms. Push with your legs. Feel the surface. Find the grip points. The Vyarwayanen made it halfway up the wall before falling. Emma caught them. Not possible by physics, but Emma managed anyway. Good try. You almost had it. Want to go again? The Vyarwayanen tried again. And again. And again. Finally succeeded on the 7th attempt. Emma cheered louder than the Vyarwayanen did. Velterra approached quietly. Emma chin. The child turned and smiled. Hi, Your Majesty. Did you see? Keleth climbed the wall. I saw. Well done, Keleth. The young Vyarwayanen thrummed with pride. Emma is an excellent teacher. She is. Emma, could I speak with you for a moment? Emma followed the queen to a quiet corner of the garden. You know it's been 1 year since you first jumped over the barracks wall. Really? It feels like forever ago. Do you understand what changed because of that jump? Emma thought about it seriously. My dad got a better job. He's helping design new ships now. He says it's because humans can do more than cleaning engines. That's part of it. And Mom works with the combat medics now. She says she's teaching them human emergency medicine. Also part of it. And I get to visit your garden every week and teach people how to climb. Yes. But there's more. Emma looked up at the queen with those clear human eyes. Because I jumped, everyone realized humans could jump. And then they realized we could do other things too. And now humans get to do all the things we wanted to do but weren't allowed to do before. Velterra's crest feathers rose fully. You understand. I'm 9, not stupid. I never thought you were stupid. But I did think you were just playing. I was just playing. But playing is how humans learn what we can do. We play, we test ourselves, we figure out our limits. Except a lot of times we don't have limits where other people think we do. No. You don't. So thank you for not being mad when I jumped over your wall. Thank you for jumping. You taught me something important. What? That assumptions are dangerous. That we should ask questions instead of making guesses. That humans are more remarkable than we gave you credit for. Emma grinned. We're pretty cool. Yes. You are. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you think I was attacking you? I'm just a kid. Velterra knelt to Emma's eye level. Because you moved like a warrior. You cleared a wall designed to stop warriors. You did it so easily that my first thought was enhanced operative, not child at play. But I'm not a warrior. No. But you could be. If you chose. If you trained. You have the potential. Emma considered this. I think I want to be a teacher instead. Teaching is more fun than fighting. You can be both. Humans often are. Like Commander Torres? Dad says she's really good at fighting, but she also teaches people how to not fight. Exactly like Commander Torres. Emma smiled. Then maybe I'll be both. When I'm older. I hope you will be. The Coalition needs human teachers as much as it needs human warriors. Can I go back to teaching Keleth now? Yes. Go. Emma ran back to her student. Velterra watched her demonstrate another climbing technique, patient and enthusiastic in equal measure. Thelrix appeared at the Queen's side. The next survey ship departs tomorrow. 40% human crew. Good. The captain requested Emma Chen's brother as a junior specialist. He's 10 years old. He'll be 11 by the time they return. And the captain specifically wants someone who can navigate difficult terrain. Apparently, the boy can climb anything. Of course he can. Approved. Your Majesty, we're sending a 10-year-old child on a deep space survey mission. We're sending an exceptional young human on an opportunity to explore. His parents approved. He's capable. Let him go. What if something happens? Then he'll adapt. That's what humans do. Thelrix didn't argue further. She'd learned not to underestimate humans. The survey ship departed on schedule. Chimley, age 10, reported for duty with enthusiasm and a climbing kit his sister had helped him pack. The mission lasted 6 months. The ship encountered 17 previously uncharted worlds. Chimley successfully navigated terrain on 14 of them that had stopped previous survey teams. His youth wasn't a liability. It was an advantage. He was small enough to access spaces adults couldn't reach. Fearless enough to try approaches others wouldn't consider. Creative enough to solve problems no one had anticipated. He returned to the station taller, more confident, and with recordings of geological formations that made coalition scientists weep with joy. Emma met him at the dock. "Did you climb everything?" "Almost everything. There was this one cliff on the ice world that I couldn't quite. You'll get it next time." "Yeah. I will." Velterra watched the reunion from a distance. 2 human children who'd changed the galaxy by being themselves. By playing. By exploring. By refusing to accept that they couldn't do things everyone said were impossible. "They're going to keep surprising us." Thelric spoke quietly. "Forever, probably. Are you comfortable with that?" Velterra thought about it. Yes. The coalition was becoming stagnant. We'd settled into comfortable patterns. Humans disrupt those patterns just by existing. Disruption isn't always good. No. But stagnation is always bad. Humans keep us moving forward. Keep us questioning. Keep us improving. Because a child jumped over a wall. Because a child showed us walls are meant to be climbed. Emma Chin continued visiting the garden every week throughout her childhood. By age 12, she was teaching climbing to 3 different species. By 14, she'd designed new training equipment based on human playground principles. By 16, she'd published a paper on cross-species physical education that became required reading at coalition military academies. She never joined the military. True to her word, she became a teacher. But she taught warriors how to move like humans. How to push past perceived limits. How to see obstacles as opportunities. Her students went on to achieve things their species had thought impossible. Just like she had. 20 years after that first jump, Velterra stood in the same garden watching a new generation of human children play. Emma Chin stood beside her now, fully grown, holding her own daughter. "She's fast," Velterra observed. "All human children are fast." Emma smiled. "You know that now." "I do. But I still find it remarkable. Do you ever regret not shooting me that day?" "Every day." Emma laughed. "Liar. You're right. I've never regretted it once." Velterra's crest feathers settled into contentment. "You changed everything, Emma Chin. I jumped over a wall. You showed us who humans really are. Just by playing. Sometimes that's enough." Emma's daughter cleared the fountain in a single leap. Landed laughing. Looked back at her mother with pride. "Again!" the child shouted. "Again," Emma agreed. And the cycle continued. Human children playing. Human adults watching. The coalition learning. All because one 8-year-old girl had jumped over a wall and taught an ancient queen that humans were full of surprises. The best kind of surprises. The kind that changed everything.